1984, January 6th, Chicago, Illinois. Now I am in Chicago. Everyone came to the train station and rally and saw me off. It was bitterly cold, and I cried as we pulled away, and I saw Mom, Joe, Sharon, Dean, Catherine, and the Parkers all waving. At the D.C. station, I bought a Coke from a vending machine that talked. That was a first. My 3 days visiting Allen and Pittsburgh were a blur. Smoked a lot of pot, snorted a good deal of cocaine, which never really agrees with me. Tonight was a reception for new students in the dining area of the Art Institute. There was wine and cheese and people in uniforms who emptied the ashtrays. I'm not as hysterical as I thought I might be, and I'm having a good time looking around. Visited the post office and the big main library and the Conservatory of Music where Ned Rorem went. I am beside myself. On leaving the reception tonight, I saw a man sitting on a stool. He removed his artificial legs, which were lying on the ground beside him. What a place! January 10th. I looked at 4 apartments today, the best being 820 West Cuyler. It's a short street, and everyone in the building is from Mexico or Central America. There's trash in the courtyard and on the landings, but the rent is only $190. The living room bedroom ceiling is covered with plaster to catch the falling plaster. The floors are collaged with different patterns of linoleum, but the bathroom's okay. There are plenty of windows in the kitchen big enough to do all my work in. Best of all, it's 8 blocks from an IHOP that looks exactly like the one I left behind in Raleigh, both inside and out. January 15th. After looking at 16 apartments, some so small I could heat them with a candle and a few that were roommate situations, I came back to 820 West Cuyler. George the super told me I can take up the linoleum if I want and remove the flimsy wall that divides the main room in half. The closet's big and he will plaster the ceiling. While cleaning, I found lots of matches, a cap, and a rat trap. The last tenants left behind a sofa I'll be getting rid of and a framed picture of Jesus spreading his arms as wide as they will go. There are roach eggs everywhere, and the place stinks of pesticide. January 17th. Because I'm basically starting from scratch, I have to take a number of core classes. These are 2D basic drawing, 3D basic sculpture, and 4D, which can be video or performance or whatever the teacher, whose name is Ken Shore, wants. Our first assignment from him is to collect overheard sentences and shape them into a dialogue. Then we're to find a scrap of something measuring 4 by 5 feet and slap a word or image on it. This is right up my alley and I've already started on it. My scrap will be some of the linoleum I ripped off my living room floor. Ken said that school is one of the few places, perhaps the only place, where we'll find people who are interested in what we have to say. He's sort of a pessimist that way. Before class, I looked him up and learned he was in the Whitney Biennial. I wanted to ask what he'd done to get there, but I'd already talked too much in 2D and 3D and didn't want to exhaust everybody. January 22nd. I pulled up all the linoleum, got rid of the extra wall in the living room, and have started painting the kitchen. Last night, after finishing the counter cabinets, I went to the little market around the corner for beer and found $45 on the floor in front of the checkout counter. I thought I dropped it, and by the time I discovered it and wasn't mine, I was back home. First thing the day, I went out and blew it. I bought 1. 2 pounds of goat meat, 2 more beer, 3 fires by Raymond Carver, 4 the New York Review of Books, 5 hardware, 6 groceries, 7 a magazine called Straight to Hell in which gay men recount true sexual experiences, many of them outdoors and in cars or under bridges.